I'm Richard Gardiner-White. I'm a greengrocer from Burnham-on-Sea. I'm one of the co-owners of our business, and this is my wife, Jacqui Gardiner-White, who's one of the directors of the business also. We came about this business purely from a dream that we had when we first got together. We've been together since 2010, and we've always said we wanted to run our own business together. And we just couldn't quite think of what we wanted to do and where we'd go with it. So we continued working in our current roles at the time, which was for Airbus in the UK. I was one of the team leaders there, managing multiple engineers over different sites. And Jacqui and I kept toying with different ideas about running IT businesses, that kind of thing, and didn't really think about running a greengrocers at all. And then Jacqui decided she wanted to move on to a different IT company and left the business in Airbus. And then after 4 months of not working together, because we got on really well, we worked together, I was Jackie's boss at the time, which worked really well, didn't it? We were quite a formidable little team. And Jacqui went to a new company called Atkins and wasn't really happy there in that role either. And I wasn't particularly happy in my role. And then the redundancy came up. And at first it was like, woohoo, redundancy. And then it was, ooh, what do we do now? How are we going to live and how are we going to make some money? So we came home and we literally went home and lay on the bed, didn't we, that afternoon, hatching plans on where we're going to go next and how we're going to move forward. And we come up with this crazy idea, we're going to go and open a greengrocers. That came about purely because Jacqui had been working on and off for over 20 years in a greengrocers in Bristol on Gloucester Road called Paulson's. And she was trained by a lady called Sue. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. And she taught Jacqui everything she knew on weekends, helping out. And when we got together, you were still doing it, weren't you? You were going back on weekends as well as doing a full-time job at Airbus and Atkins, still helping out. So from that point on, we were all go to set up this business as a greengrocers. So if we're honest, the real passion behind it was working together as a team. And retail was something we'd never done before or even dreamt of doing. No. And we thought, it's an opportunity where we can work close with the community. We love Burnham-on-Sea. We'd moved away. We were living in Yatton for 4 years because we were helping a poorly member family. And unfortunately, he passed away. And we decided at that point, well, we don't really have a reason to kind of stay in that part of Bristol. So we sold our house. And we put everything on the line to come and open this business up. All of our savings, the house sale, to come and run this business down here. So we started looking around at shop units, and we found one on the high street, and we decided to go for it. We just bit the bullet and went for it. The passion behind greengrocery is Jacqui's passion from the past and her training she had from being a greengrocer. And she's quite knowledgeable about her fruit and veg and passionate about healthy eating. And from my side of things, I suppose it's really, we wanted to do it in an eco-sustainable way and deliver an indie type of business on the high street that was different, something that people had never seen before. So we've seen greengrocers in their traditional guise, and we wanted to do it a little bit different. And that's kind of where we are and how we started. The biggest challenge I think we had to overcome was, and still is, our business rates. They're quite steep, very high, aren't they, for where we are, because we're on such a prime position on the high street. We tend to suffer the same business rates as the likes of the big boys around us, like Boots, which aren't, independent stores. And when you first start looking into it, you can go online and look up, what the business rates would be for that area. And with our shop, they weren't available to us, and we'd contacted them and asked them, and they said, well, eventually it will appear online. And when it did, it was a bit of a shock how much we had to pay business rates. So we sat about working out how can we get the rates down. We contacted the local councils, and they gave us advice and told us we could go for a hardship and asked for a re-evaluation by the valuation office, which we did. And the valuation office were not particularly helpful, if I'm honest with you. It was quite difficult. We'd heard that they'd come out and revalue and measure up, and that wasn't the case. They kind of just sent you a YouTube video and set about, well, here you go, guys, that's what you need to do, and left us on our own to deal with it. But in the interim, we were talking with the council and we put a hardship case together and explained about how we are a community business. We're passionate about the community. It's a staple of the high street. We're a local employer. We bring local people in, our sustainability and what we're doing there. And fortunately, they agreed with us with our hardship case and gave us a reduction for 3 months, I think, wasn't it? Yes. Yeah. And that's now expired, so we're back in the same situation. We've now got to appeal for the valuation office and ask them for some help, and hopefully we'll get some business rates relief. We've also been talking to our local MP about business rates. It's quite a hot topic at the moment, I think, in Parliament. So hopefully something will change there for small businesses like ourselves, where we can get some help. I think other challenges, really, not being in retail ever, it has to be knowing your stock levels and what you're buying in, and it really has been hit and miss, hasn't it? We try not to waste food, but unfortunately you tend to get the measure of your customers, who's coming on what day. So Wednesday could not be busy, and then the following Wednesday could be busy, and you try and juggle your stock levels around. But I think we're pretty much there in terms of fruit and veg. The wastage is absolutely minimal now. The front of our shop, which includes jams and pickles and different sauces and condiments, those we're still learning on. You know, we brought in lots of local. We always try and go local first. So we go to markets, we visit food festivals. We have a huge food festival in Burnham, which is Eat Burnham. We sample products there and we decide whether they're going to come into our store. We bring them in and we see if customers like them. And you start to gauge which ones do and don't sell, and we're narrowing that stock down. So I think that's some of the biggest challenges we faced. I guess the final one would be negativity from people, particularly some friends and some family who said it won't work. You know, you're investing an awful lot of money into this business, and that can be quite hard. But I think we're both so driven, not to prove them wrong, but to prove it right for us. You know, we've got a goal. We want to achieve and make this business work. And you know, we've only been going 9 months now, 8, 9 months. 9, yeah. And I think we're doing really well. We've cemented ourselves in the community. We're very well known locally. We're often in the local papers and on Burnham-on-Sea.com for charity work we do and working with community. So one of the biggest assets to our company has been using social media and different ways of developing and promoting the business forward. Traditionally, people would go to papers and use advertising, I guess, through papers, and we've not done that, have we? I think we did it once. And we didn't really reap the rewards from that advertising, but even before we opened the shop, we could see the power of social media, and we decided that we needed to start promoting it in advance to opening the shop. That we've got a greengrocers coming, guys. Let's put it out there, let people know who we are, we're coming, this is what we plan to do in the shop. And one of the key things about using social media for us was talking to our customers. It was asking them, well, they weren't even our customers at that point, what do you want to see on your high street? What do you want to see in this shop? What products would you like to see? How would you like it to look? What's it going to feel like to you when you come into the shop? So we predominantly went out on Facebook initially, didn't we? In fact, it was only Facebook to begin with, and we promoted heavily. And we could see the benefits of it from other businesses, not local to Burnham actually, more businesses such as Speedy Feet, in fact. We took quite a big cue from the way it was a natural video of a guy talking about something he was passionate about, producing live videos. And we kind of followed those footsteps. We thought, well, we can do that. And we've seen butchers doing it, talking about their produce and doing special deals on social media, and they had a huge following. So one of our key criteria was when we went onto Facebook was that we had to follow up every single comment, which is really hard. So every comment we get, we like if there's nothing you have to say, but we always try to respond to people as well on social media. And as time's gone on, we've expanded into Instagram. We're also on Tumblr and Twitter. We really are pushing our business in all those different types of social media, and we get a good lot of feedback from it. We even get people come in the shop now. We have one lady, Becky Lyons is her name, she's a local school teacher, and we promoted the school. We gave some sponsorship, didn't we, for a production of grease, and through that they offered to come and do a flash mob in our shop for us and record that, and promote us through their social media outlets. So as it transpired, she actually came in and done what she calls Amy Outhouse, and done a video, and she sung about our produce, and she sung about our shop and about who we are. And it kind of went viral for the area, and the local paper picked up on it, and we got contacted by a news agency asking us if they could share it on from there. And I think at the last check it was at 25,000 views, which I guess in terms of big social media is not massive, but for a small shop, we were quite pleased with that reach. We also utilise it to promote products quite heavily. We're on there 2 to 3 times a day, promoting new produce coming in, letting customers know what's come into stock, and it does bring them in the door. Seeing it on Facebook, seeing it on Instagram, they pop in and pick the produce up. So I think it's beneficial in that respect. And one of the hardest things we found was generating reach. It was great getting likes, but we found that reach was far more important to us than the actual likes. You need the likes to begin with to get the reach. So we did pay for some advertising through Facebook to generate that. But what we found worked better was to promote products and give away competitions. So one of our first ones we did was at Christmas, wasn't it? We did a huge Christmas competition, and we could give away a fruit basket. But we decided that wasn't good enough. We could go and talk to other local businesses, and one of our key criteria for us is being an independent trader is that we work with other businesses in town. We don't go against them, we try and work with them and help them. So a lot of them don't really know much about social media, so we've shown them the benefits of what we were doing with social media, helped them, set up their Facebook walls for them. And I think in the end we ended up with 25, 30 businesses on board.
I was just over 30.
Yeah, and more came on as the competition went on. So we created this competition for just us, and then by the end we had, I think, over 30 businesses all giving away a gift to generate this final prize, which was worth thousands in the end, wasn't it? Mm. And I think the reach went out to something like 32,500 people through Facebook, which we were really, really pleased about. And it also helped us to get to know other businesses around us and appreciate what they do and see how we can help them and how we can work together. So we hooked up with a butcher's local to us and asked them if they could supply us with meat. So they started supplying us meat, and we would sell that through the shop. And then cheeses came on board through going to local markets, and well, we could do some cheese, and sell that through our shop. But we don't just bring in cheese, we go and try the produce out first and see if it suits our taste palette, and let our customers know we're going to try it and find out how they feel about those produce too. And again, it kind of spans on from there. We needed fridges to put in the shop, and we went to another local business and worked with them, and they helped us with the types of units we needed. Other parts of the business we're trying to develop is we're looking at ways of lots of our customers, they like to buy things in small quantities. So they'll come in and buy half a cucumber, or they can buy half a cabbage. But we want to take that to the next step. So the logical solution for us is to create a salad bar where we have the produce prepared and sliced, and they can just come in, fill a bowl of what exactly they need for their dinner that day. In terms of the customer, they get a much wider choice of things for a lower cost for them, but we're also able to put a higher markup on that because we've got the production of the salads. And I think people coming on lunch times as well will be able to come in and get a healthy meal in town. At the moment, there's plenty of cafes around that do, salads and, sit-down meals and that kind of thing. And you have the likes of the big boys like Greg's. Just doesn't feel healthy enough for us. We want to be able to offer something fresh, local produce that customers can take away. We did capitalise from the beginning. We'd always made our minds up from the beginning of this process that we'd do fruit and veg box delivery service. But we just couldn't see how we'd get there. We needed a customer base, we needed to advertise and promote that, and again we used social media for that to promote those veg boxes. Would you like them, was the question. What would you like to see in your veg boxes? And we got customer feedback. And then we went online, created the shop, the web page, through Wix and different tools. We used POWR as one of our subscription models, because we need to be able to do a subscription model where we can, generate sales weekly, monthly, without having to chase up people to pay us. We needed something automatic, so we used POWR as our platform for our e-commerce, and we used PayPal subscriptions to ensure that the funds were always there and paid for, and notify us if there was going to be an issue. So that started off just being veg boxes online, and then customers were asking us, well, why don't you put the whole shop online? So we did. We begun to do that, and it's a huge challenge because we have thousands of products in our store. And we begun building the database, and we've kind of not finished that yet. There are technical issues around it to do weights, and we can't sell with less than a decimal place with the current platform we're on. So we need to move to a new platform. We're very mindful of that, and that's the next step in the business, is to essentially have the entire shop online. Not get rid of the veg box business, but to me it feels more like the customers actually want us to customise their shop and have it their way. I think the veg box business model is good for the likes of Riverford doing their own organic produce. But I think for us, being able to sell individual items will be the next step in our progression for online business. And that's kind of led into, when we first opened, we had a manual till system, just some old Casio GE10s we got from a wholesaler, wasn't it?
eBay.
eBay. And we set these tills up, and it's great because Jax is an expert on all the produce, and she knows every single price of every single item in that shop. But when we started to build up, it was just Jacqui and I, which was great. But then we had to take staff on as the demand grew. We were out doing deliveries, so we needed more staff in the shop. So the staff would come in the mornings and they would write down every single item we'd actually had spreadsheets printed out and all the items on there. And they'd have to come in and do a price check every single morning, which is time consuming. And you're paying for those staff to do that every day. So we started looking at EPOS systems and how we could streamline that system. And we looked at several different platforms, and for us, we found that iZettle was the best option. We got a really good rate with the card machines, and it was really easy to use. It was intuitive. We could utilise iPads, which we already had one, so it required us to buy an additional iPad, and we just bought the accessories to go with that. Then the cash register, the barcode printer, and the scanner.
Mobile card readers.
Yeah, mobile card readers, which are great for us because we do deliveries and we can take card payment when we're out and about. In fact, we've actually got the whole shop in our hand on our mobile devices. So when we go out to a customer, we can literally do the invoice there and then and bill them and swipe the card. So it's really beneficial for us. And we've managed to now catalogue the entire shop into the EPOS system. And we're almost ready to hit the button to go to the next step, which is the full store online. So part of our ethos is environmental sustainability. Again, lots of that's been driven by customer demand. So we started off with an electric car. We thought we'd do all of our deliveries in an electric vehicle. And so far, it's worked really well. We do a 20-mile radius of the store, and we can usually get a whole day of deliveries from that right the way up to Weston-super-Mare, out to Cheddar, Mark, Wedmore, down to Bridgewater. And we can tend to get a whole day of deliveries, about 16, 17 deliveries on a Friday, I think, isn't it, at the moment? 18, yeah. And we deliver to pubs and trade as well. So you can imagine we've got sacks of potatoes in the back of a leaf, and it copes really well with the demand we're putting on it. And from that, we went from having an electric car to charging by solar and wind through Ecotricity. And then we thought, well, what else can we do in the shop to make it more sustainable? And actually, from day one, we said we would never have plastic bags in our shop. So we started with paper bags, and again, it's a bit of a gimmick, I think. People looked at it as a gimmick. Oh, it's like an old-fashioned greengrocers with paper bags. But it wasn't about that for us. It was more about the sustainability of it. I didn't want plastic bags in there, and yes, it looks nice, but also about it's recyclable, and people can bring their bags back and reuse them with us. And from there, we went on to trying to eradicate all plastic from the shop, and that was big. It wasn't a big. It still is a huge challenge. I think with most of our produce is plastic free, but there's certain things that you just can't get around it. You've got the supply chain above you, and you can ask as much as you like to request them to, can we do it packaged differently? But because of their processing plants, and you just can't buy it in like that. So we thought, well, what can we do? We want to sell milk in our shop, but we didn't want poly bottles, so we went for glass bottles, which is quite hard finding a supplier, because I think there's only 4 bottling plants in the whole of the UK. And again, trying to keep that local was really hard. So we did find somebody in the end, and we do sell milk in glass bottles. We used to sell at the front of the shop when we first opened lots of different things like crystallised ginger and chocolate-coated peanuts, yogurt-coated peanuts. And again, that was customer demand. They were asking for these things. And we had about, 50, 60 lines at the front of the shop, all in plastic bags. So we went out and sourced another supplier. How can we do it differently? So we then sourced it in 2.5 kilogram bags, and we bought some Kilner glass jars. So we now just top those glass jars up and sell them in paper bags. There's still some plastic, it's coming in a large plastic, but I think we've reduced down significantly the amount of plastic there from the front of the shop. We've had some days, haven't we, which are really tough. Things aren't going quite right. You might lose a few subscriptions online, that kind of thing, and the pressures of business are quite difficult. And so we have literally shed blood, sweat and tears to get where we are. A lot of people say to us, like, you need to stand still and stop, but we can't. I think when we thought about this business, we decided that we'd open a greengrocers, and that was it. It was almost really blinkered, so we're going to go and do a greengrocers, and this is going to see us through to our retirement. But it was so far from the truth. As it turned out, as soon as we started going, you get this passion. It's like fire in your belly, and you want to do more. You want to develop the business and drive it forward, and you start coming up with all different ideas, and you branch off from that. Like the salad bars, like the fruit and veg box deliveries, and how we can be more sustainable. But also through meeting customers that come into your shop, you get quite a good relationship with them. As I say, we've become like the hub of the community. And I think staple food shops like ours have that benefit to bring those kind of people in. And we've met some great people who've come up with some great ideas, and we've made lots of new friends through that. More recently, I met up with a guy called John, and he was talking about his business and how we'd like to develop that forward. He runs an oven cleaning and a carpet cleaning and upholstery business, and he liked what we were doing on social media and the way we were pushing, and I guess the passion we had for our business. He wanted something like that in his business. So we had some cursory talks, and we went out for a pint together, and we decided, why don't we go into business together, and we'll go 50-50 on this business, and I'll invest money into his business, and we'll expand into window cleaning, and perhaps we'll put another oven tank on the road, and we'll expand our area and drive that business forward. So that's where we are with that at the moment. So through the shop, we've got other businesses going on. We also, after 25 years of IT, it was, don't want to go back into computers again. But we found naturally, because of things like the EPOS system in the store, people were asking us, well, who did that for you? Well, we did it. We created it ourselves. We built the database, we put the software together. And how do you know? Where do you get this information from? Well, we're both IT technicians. We both got an IT background. So then we decided to run a small IT company in town. And people start picking up business cards, and we now go out and do little break-fix computer repairs for people, and some software faults and hardware faults. And it's developed down that line. So there's always like opportunities coming up. We've had customers come in from other towns. We've got shops that they run already, and they like our model, and they've spoke to us about franchising, repeating our model into their villages, into their towns, and looking forward into the future. It wasn't something we originally planned, but I think we need to go forward with the business and take it somewhere else. And we are currently looking at other villages, other towns that we can perhaps repeat this model. Or actually even make it better, expand it, go bigger with it. But this will always be the roots and the beginning of what this business was about. So yeah, I think it just generates lots of opportunity from running your own business, and especially in retail, because you are face to face with customers day in, day out. When we first started, we would worry about the finances and if we had enough money to go forward, and what we were spending was quite a lot of money, and we just kept reinvesting money into the business. Yeah, and it's scary. And then when things do go wrong, at first we had a tendency to panic. And we'd go away and we'd sit for hours, right to the early hours of the morning, trying to work out how we could fix that problem, where we'd go next, to the point you think, well, is the business going to fail? Is it going to shut down? And it doesn't happen that way. You suddenly find you'll go to sleep, you'll wake up fresh in the morning, you still have that drive, that passion. And I think you don't bury your head in the sand with it. But I think when the problem occurs, you just go, oops. Just leave it and let it ride out and see what happens. And just, suddenly the shop gets really busy and the sales are great and there's more money coming in and things start turning around. And I think you still have this passion. Yeah, don't panic, whatever you do. Just keep driving, keep pushing forward. And I guess don't forget your goals and why you're doing it and what your passion is behind it. I think if you sit there and just cry and crumble and fall apart, if you don't have passion in your heart and fire in your belly to go and do it, I don't think you wouldn't succeed. You've got to give it everything. You really have. At the end of the day, the shop's teamwork. So Jax is like quite nervous on camera talking about business. When we're on our own, she's quite animated and quite passionate about it. But you do find it difficult to talk in front of other people, but that's kind of where we work well together, because this lady knows that shop inside and out. She knows the produce, she knows her customers, she treats them with respect. She knows how to make a shop look pretty. She's won awards for displays, in the past, haven't you, at Paulson's and Gloucester Road. Whereas I'm kind of in the background. I run the business side of the model. I'm always looking at ways of driving it forward, but not on my own. She stood here right by my side doing it as a team together, and we consult with each other. We come up with some crazy ideas sometimes, and we've tried them in the shop, and they haven't worked, and we've lost money doing it. And there's other times I'll come up with ideas, and Jack says, "Well, that won't work, but let's give it a go." And we put it in the shop, and yeah, it worked. It's good, or it didn't. It just depends, doesn't it? We're applying for awards at the moment and keeping everything crossed that we do achieve something out of that. I think just even with the awards that we're applying for, just having recognition, not necessarily winning them, just having recognition. And that's one of the things we found, isn't it, through social media again, promoting up about different awards that we'd like our customers to put us forward for. Yeah. The feedback is phenomenal. People, and people are telling us we love your shop because of this, and we've nominated you for this award. And it's good. It gives you a good feeling, and I guess it's ticking the right boxes that you're doing the right thing, and people get what our business is about. It's not just about fruit and veg. There's more to it than that. It is about a community and about a business and a family working hard together to make something quite unique. If you think back to the start, when we spoke about becoming a greengrocer, that was terrifying enough. And then once you start doing it, you quickly realise that you've got some great skills and you can go on and do other things. And you get all these opportunities appear, and it's endless. It's just like it opens up an endless world of opportunity, and you just keep thinking, what else can we do next? What's next? It doesn't seem to stop.
It's self-fueling, isn't it? More.
It is self-fueling. Like I didn't see that happening. I really couldn't see that as something we do. I just couldn't go back to working in an office 9 till 5. Well, it was never 9 till 5. It was always
9 till 1 in the morning.
9 till 1 in the morning, because you don't get paid for those hours. You don't get paid for them, and you don't get paid for all the hours that we invest into our business. If you think you're going to go and open up a business and suddenly earn a fantastic wage from day one, you're very mistaken, because that's not going to happen. You're going to have to really sacrifice an awful lot of everything you've got: savings, investment, money. And every time you get that little pot of gold, you've made a good bit of money in the business. Well, for us, it goes back in. It goes back into the business, and we just keep driving it forward. Where is it going? I don't know. What's coming up next? I don't know. But I just think there's good things. I know where we want the business to go, what the model's going to look like. But if you were to say to me 10 years down the line, what will it look like in 10 years? Well, hopefully better than what it looks like today. That's how I see it, and I guess that's the passion I have. I can never sit still and say, well, this is good enough. It always has to be better. Same with this business now, we're starting the cleaning business. Well, we started thinking, well, where's the money going to come from? Well, of course, we can reinvest it from our current business and go down that route. And this time, there wasn't even any fear. It was just like, what do we need? We need a van, we need equipment to put in the van, we need reverse osmosis systems, we need bank accounts. We knew all the things we needed in the process to go and get it going. And the concept started, 2 months ago, and last week we decided, right, we're going to go ahead. And we've pushed the button, and we've already got the vans, we've got the sign writing lined up. It's all going ahead quite quickly. Bank account, yeah, it's all happened really quickly, and we're really excited now of getting the business going in that business and developing that business also. And seeing where that goes, and it's off the back of humble greengrocers in the high street of Burnham-on-Sea. The shop opens at 9, and it shuts at 5 or 6, depending on what day it is. But that's not our day. Our day is Jack's to get up at 4:30.
Running to the house at 4:30, don't you?
Yeah, on a regular basis to go to the market, get all the stock she needs, and she's usually back at the shop at 7:30.
6:30.
6:30, yeah.
6, 7 o'clock back at the shop. That gives me an hour and a half to get open and be there when delivery arrives from what I've just bought down the market. Yeah. So now.
So what's your working day?
From when we get up to when we go to bed. It varies, it really does, but...
On market run day, we get up at 4, shop shuts at 6, so home by 6:30. Then you've got social media. Well, you've got social media.
Yeah, and sometimes you can be going to 1 o'clock in the morning on social media, trying to catch up with all the responses.
Paperwork, sorting out the orders for the next day, reordering stock for the milkman and putting all that through. So it's probably about 4 in the morning to about 10 at night.
Yeah.
And then
So some days we have gone till 1, 2 in the morning, haven't we? We literally had like 2 hours sleep that night, where we're trying to catch up with paperwork and everything else and socials and people say, well, you know, go home and switch off and have a day off. You can't. You just can't go and switch off. If you do, you're going to miss something, and then you're getting yourself even more behind. And actually, you don't want to switch off. We're really happy to be doing it.
Yeah, you can't. That's the only downside, I guess, of not working 9 to 5 in an office, because you can't say at 5 o'clock I'm going home and that's it, because your business won't function if you don't do certain things that you can't do when you're in the shop. You've got done when you're at home, such as the accounts and the paperwork and stock ordering and phone rings because you've got cafes, restaurants.
Yeah.
They'll ring you at 9, 10 o'clock at night and say, can I have my
Even
order for tomorrow?
yeah. It's interesting, even with our customers, that we have such a relationship with them that they know we don't switch off. So we come in one evening from work and we're sat in the back garden and having a glass of wine. I think it was like 7:30 at night.
7:30.
It was getting on, wasn't it? And the phone rings, it's a customer. Oh, would you mind opening up so I could grab a chicken?
Need a chicken?
No problem. So off we two-tour down to the shop and open up and serve this lady a chicken. But do you know what? And if you're working for yourself, you do that.
Yeah.
And there's no bad feeling about it either. It's like, oh, I've got to go down there and do that. You're actually really pleased they've asked you. It's like, oh, great. So much they could go to a supermarket and buy it from a supermarket. We have plenty of them around us, but they still choose to come and shop with us. So that's great. I think it's brilliant.
So it's worth the sacrifice of not working a 9 to 5.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100% worth the sacrifice.
Yeah.
I struggle with people who work 9 to 5, who moan about having to stay on an hour.
Mentality in Airbus was like 5,500 people there by the time we left, and almost when the school bell rung, I'm not joking, they would run to their cars. Literally, they are running to their cars to get out of the car park to beat the queue. And then there'd be a huge queue, and they'd be coming from everywhere. It's like something out of a comedy sketch, wasn't it? Because you imagine, managing people at Airbus that had that all the time. So there'd be days when things would go wrong and you need help. I'm not staying on, not unless you pay me double pay. Whereas myself, when I was doing it, I didn't have any expectations from the company. I would just carry on working until that task was completed. And if something went wrong, I'm here to help. And I guess that's what separates somebody who wants to go and do a 9 to 5 job from an entrepreneur who will commit their time. I think you actually commit your life to your business, and that's not putting your family in the back burner, because ultimately you're doing it for your family, and that's really important. But I think you're committing your family, everyone. You're all part of a team. You do it together. So if you are in a 9 to 5 role, and I guess if you're happy with what you're doing and you don't feel like it's the humdrum of life, then carry on. But if you do have a passion or something you're really fascinated with, or a career path you want to go down, perhaps you should look at running your own business and starting it up. We did 25 years of working for various companies, being tupered around and living under their rules and regulations. And as time goes on, and you do have this dream about something you want to go and do, it simply comes down to the fact you just have to take the leap and go and do it. You have to be brave. You have to be strong. Again, plan a good business plan and set your model. We did have a good business plan.
Yes.
Yeah, we worked out our business plan and we knew what we wanted to do. We knew what our goals were. I don't think you should go in blind and just do it, because I think you could make some fatal errors. I think our story is that we are those people that were working in a 9 to 5 role. We weren't happy with what we were doing, and we had dreams for 5-6 years about doing it, and we kept toying with the idea of going to do it, and we never actually took the bold step of actually going to do it. And I think for us, we kind of got forced into that situation, or I certainly did. Being made redundant left a huge gap in my life, I suppose. What do you do now for a career when you almost lost your passion for your old career as well? But all the plans that we had could now become reality. So it was a blessing for us, really. And we decided to go and do it. And my only advice would be, don't hold back. Go and do it. Go and give it a go.
I'll be prepared to work very long hours.
Yeah.
Very hard.